Welcome back, gamers. Here at the Luna Lounge, we have a very special guest, D&D player, Richard. Hey, thanks for coming.
Thanks for inviting me over, if anything.
So Richard, how long have you been playing D&D for?
I actually started way back when, but because of like school and life, everything, I've been playing on and off kind of thing.
Okay.
But I think in total, maybe like 2.5 years at most. But in D&D standards, that's not much at all.
Right.
You have people who are playing like 20, 30 years, and these are like the experts. But yeah, no. But yeah, it's relatively new. But yeah.
I mean, going back like 2 years ago-ish, like how did you get into it?
Well, getting into it, it actually started way back when. I forgot when. I think it was in the 90s, early 2000s. But there was actually a movie that came out for it. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And that's my first exposure to it.
Yeah.
But later on, I found out, oh, yeah, there are actually rules to it. You can play with miniatures. You have die. And it just seemed really fun because you get to like create your own story for it, at least as far as being a dungeon master. And I thought that was really cool. So me and my uni friends, we started to play it, and we found it was actually pretty fun. Yeah.
Oh, nice. How often do you play D&D for? Like.
Well, in university, maybe once every 1 or 2 months or so.
Right.
So it wasn't that often just because everyone was so busy. But whenever we played, it always lasted like 6-7 hours or so. But it was engaging the whole time, which is kind of cool to me.
Yeah. So we play D&D together.
Yeah.
And your character
Recently.
is super interesting.
Well, he's cool. I like him.
Can you tell the viewers a bit about your character?
Okay. So my character's name's Valentin. He's a Lizardfolk. So he's kind of like a lizard man. He's like 6'2", 280 pounds, really bulky guy. He's the barbarian in the group. So he's able to tank a lot of damage. But his intelligence is incredibly low. So whenever we do like, puzzle kind of thing, he just does so badly on it, and it comes out as very comedic, if anything.
I think one of my favorite things about your character, honestly, is that your character doesn't know how to count.
Oh,
so
yeah,
when your character buys things.
Yeah, whenever he buys things, he just shakes the gold pouch and stuff. So like, there you go. Then it's up to the merchant whether, that's all good, all good, or like, no, here. This is the change, you keep that.
But do people, I mean, it really is controlled by the dungeon master, but do the merchants, do they take advantage of that at all?
Which one?
The merchants, yeah. Do they just take all the money?
So far, no. Because the only time I ever used my character is in our session.
Right.
For other sessions, I'm mostly the dungeon master, so I don't have a character generally.
Okay.
But for our group, the one that we're playing in, it's super fun to actually be a player for once kind of thing. But yeah.
So, I mean, creating your character, what was your thought process?
Well, it's actually an incredibly long process. For me, I always start, what kind of class do I want to play? And then after that, I'm like, what race, right? But after that, I always go, I go to very personal questions like, where was he born? What was his upbringing like? Why is he an adventurer? Why did he leave his town? And I just keep on going on and on like that. Eventually, I go, what kind of quirks does he have? So, for example, my character, he's a Lizardfolk. Normally, they don't have any frills. For me, I'm like, it's going to be really cool to have frills, kind of like the Jurassic Park ones, right?
Right.
So, whenever he gets excited, like, he has frills that goes up. So like, woof, I'm excited. Or it's like, he's angry, like, comes down, that kind of thing. Or when he rages, it like rattles, kind of like a rattlesnake kind of thing. And I'm like, that's a really cool thing to add to my character. And then it just keeps on building on from there.
I think one of the really cool things about D&D is that you make your own backstory. Because it really does take part in like the campaign. Sometimes you gain things from it. I know one of the things your character likes to do is try to bring back like knowledge of magic. Yeah. Can you tell the viewers a bit about the history of your character?
Well, history of my character was that he started off in Muckroot Swamp. There's just all these are completely like made up, right? Starts with Muckroot Swamp. He was just a regular townsfolk. He used to hunt, that kind of thing. And then eventually a merchant by the name of Bogkin, a small gnome, he likes to talk in an Irish accent.
Irish accent?
Yeah, and just because it's so cool. But yeah, so eventually he's like, I need to find this one item, which led to Balkan to hire my character to be like a guide kind of thing. Eventually, they found the item, but it was guarded by these smaller lizard people, but they knew how to use magic that he has never run into before. In the process, they weren't able to get it, and they're just trying to escape the colony, right? Because of that, my character, as he was running away, he got blasted by like fire bolts, that kind of thing. His back is singed. So when you see the miniature of my character, the back's actually singed as well. But because of that, he's like, you know what? Like, if this colony, if these people grow in our swamp, our tribe won't be able to compete with them. So he decided, yeah, I'm gonna follow my employer Balkan on his adventures, and I'm gonna try to bring magic back to Makrud village. But yeah, that's how we started this adventure.
Nice. Why did you choose? Just out of pure curiosity, like why did you choose a Lizardfolk as your species?
Mostly because it's out there. I mean, like D&D, you can be anything you want, right? So for me, I'm like, you know what? Like human, I'm doing it now. So it's not as exciting.
Human,
yeah, right. That's why I wanted to pick up some more unusual races. So my choices were okay. They're the Dragonborn, which are also like skilled people. There are some people who are more like demons, that kind of thing. But for me, I'm like, if I'm gonna play barbarian, Lizardfolk seems less intelligent. It just really plays a lot more with the character I wanted to play. That's why I chose Lizardfolk.
What's your most funniest D&D moment?
Funny. I can't think of any funny moments much, but as far as like say something that's really memorable, this was a few months ago. But I was a dungeon master for this group, right? And we were actually in a train. They were in the engine cart of a train, and there were creatures in the passenger cars, and they're all making their way to the front. So the barbarian in the group is lifting a latch just to get to a connector to disconnect the passenger cart from the engine. The rogue is just really trying to break the connector using a blowtorch. The bard is in the back. She's trying to find the switch to disconnect the passenger cart. The druid is just going, oh my God, like what the hell? And then the rogue, as he was trying to break the connector, he had to roll for it. And depending on the number you roll, that determines whether you succeed or fail. He fails miserably. He drops the torch. He can't cut it anymore. And the huge creatures, just like large masses of scale and tentacles and huge toothy maw, just getting closer and closer. They're only like a few feet from them. But the bard was able to find the switch to disconnect the passenger cart. It disconnects. The passenger starts to get farther and farther away. And then the barbarian, just because of the change in speed, he falls out of the cart. So everyone's just like, holy frick. Sorry.
It's okay.
So the
it can bleed.
like all the adventurers are just like, oh my God, like he's gonna fall. So the druid, with her last spell, she's able to use a vine whip and try to catch the barbarian, but she misses. Then the barbarian, just because of reflex, he rolled a natural 20, which is like the highest number you can get. He was just able to move his hand in the way enough for the whip to wrap around it. He starts taking damage, eats into his flesh, but he got pulled away from the passenger car, so he was able to like drive towards the end of the tunnel and get out. And yeah, that's
crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, it's the most memorable thing I've had so far.
Why do you think D&D has been getting more popular nowadays?
I think it's been widespread before, but recently I think it's because of a group in Geek and Sundry that recently got really popular, really blew up, called Critical Role, because it was a group of these voice actors, and they just played so well. The story was really well made. Everyone got emotional during sessions and everything, and that's what really extended past the D&D community and actually reached to people who don't even play it. But I think that's why it's become much, much more popular nowadays.
True. I think like I got into it because, do you remember that show Community?
Yes. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember they didn't really use any of the miniatures or everything. It was like
No,
spoken
it's just
word,
pure
right?
imagination. Do you always use miniatures, or do you ever just use imagination only?
I prefer to use miniatures, especially when it comes to, say, battle. Just because
Right.
you're much more aware of like the spatial awareness where your teammates are, where your enemies are.
Right.
Oh, is there a lever over there, or is there like a torch that we can like knock down so that there's less light, kind of thing. I feel having miniatures really helps.
Like visualize?
Yeah, helps people visualize what's going on or where things are.
For new players out there who are interested in playing D&D for the first time, is there any advice you can offer them?
For the most part, the best advice I can give people is to start simple. Don't try to, just because D&D is so detailed, I recommend start with just, say, learn how to do movement, combat, and social aspects. Later on, like, you can go like, okay, we're gonna worry about thirst, we're gonna worry about like the weight of your equipment, kind of thing. And aside from that, I guess another thing I would like to recommend to new players is be very patient with each other. Just because especially if the dungeon master is someone who's not that well prepared, and they're like, oh no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. It's really hard to make a session for people.
Yeah.
So just be aware of where everybody is, like emotionally, that kind of thing. And do try to make it a fun game, if anything. But yeah, patience and understanding. That's
Patience and understanding. Well, it's so true though, because I mean, games are so long.
yeah.
Yeah, like our
I
last
said,
campaign was like
7 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. And try to find what kind of game you guys enjoy. Do you guys enjoy something that's much more tactical? Do you guys enjoy something that's much more role play heavy?
Right.
And then based on that, let your dungeon master know that that's what you guys enjoy. Because if they're just making a session and they have no idea what you guys want, then it's hard to make something that's enjoyable for you guys. So, like, yeah, do communicate with people.
Oh, well, thanks so much, Richard.
You're welcome.
Thanks for all this info, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.
Well, thanks for watching the Gamers Galaxy and joining Richard and I here at the Luna Lounge. If you want to stay up to date with Gamers Galaxy outside the show, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at Gamers Galaxy TV. See you guys next time. GG.